Welcome back, everybody. This is Modern Randy. I am Randy, and today we're talking about the Boros Energy deck and what makes it so good, what's making it a dominant force that we're seeing on Magic Online, taking down RCQs and even turning into a Mardu Energy deck, just kind of have a better edge against the Boros Energy version. As always, guys, though, if you like what I'm doing, like what you're seeing, go ahead and leave a like on the video, comment down in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel to keep up with everything that I'm doing. With that being said, let's kind of break down what Boros Energy is and the cards that they're playing. So starting off, the 1-drops. Basically, almost every Boros Energy deck is playing 4 Guided Souls, 4 Ocelot Prides, and 3 Ragavan the Nimble Pilferer. Alright, so Guided Souls, we know why this card is being played. It's a 1-2 for 1. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you gain a life and get an energy, and then it has the ability of whenever you attack, notably whenever you attack, not when you attack with Guided Souls. When you do, you can pay 3 energy, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature, and it becomes an angel in addition to its other types. The angel part doesn't matter at all, but being able to turn your creatures into flying creatures is great, plus you get to make them bigger. And notably, like I said, it's just when you attack, so you don't have to attack with Guided Souls. So you could have, late game, turn 4, turn 5, you can have, 4 energy just chilling, play Guided Souls, and then attack with, Ocelot Pride and give it flying and +2/+2. Huge benefit there. Makes sense why this card is seeing a whole bunch of play in pretty much any of the energy cells that we see outside of, like, Jeskai energy control. Then for Ocelot Pride, this card has kind of skyrocketed in being played and doing just disgusting things. It's almost an army in a can in a sense. It's a 1-mana 1/1 first strike and lifelink. And then at the beginning of your end step, if you have gained life this turn, you get to create a 1/1 white cat creature token. And then if you have the City's Blessing, which means as long as you have 10 permanents, for each token you control that enters the battlefield this turn, you create a copy of that token. So notably, if you have Extend, or the City's Blessing, sorry, and you play like a Johnny, the 2-mana Johnny Planeswalker this turn, and then you gain life because you had Guided Souls out or also applied attacked or whatever, you'll also get a copy of that Johnny token that you made. So really good, just kind of an army in a can, definitely helps populate and do crazy things. And pretty much just put your opponent on the back foot as early as, turn 2, turn 3, where you're just making a bunch of tokens. Then we have Ragavan. Obviously, good card. Has seen a lot less play recently, known to all the 1-mana or spot removal that's running around, things like that. Ocelot Pride also, checks Ragavan very well, being first strike, gets to kill the monkey before it can do anything. But we know why this card gets played. Still a good 1-drop, still good. This is the crux of having enough 1-drops to be able to do something on turn 1 always. Going on to our 2-drops here, we have a Johnny, the Nacatl Pariah, and Ampharaptor. So a Johnny, he is a 2-mana 1/2. When he enters the battlefield, you create a 2/1 white warrior cat token, and then whenever one or more cats you control dies, you may exile him and transform him. So when he gets flipped, he becomes a planeswalker with starting loyalty of 3. We have +2 to put a +1/+1 on each cat we control. We can 0 it to make another 2/1 cat warrior token. And then when we do, if we control another red permanent other than Johnny, we can deal damage equal to the number of creatures we control to any target. Notably, that gives this deck a lot of reach with being able to have, Ampharaptor as our red permanent. We have Blood Moons, we have Goblin Bombardment, we have Fables, we have Flage, and all these red permanents that we can have on the field that will just help us now deal increasingly more damage to our opponent and give us that more reach. And then our -4 is each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and planeswalker among the non-land permanents they control, then they sacrifice the rest. Notably, the -4 doesn't come up a lot. Mostly when you're playing this deck, you're going to be either +2ing or 0ing, and mostly you're 0ing because it's just, making your board bigger. And then obviously the +2 is good if we already have a bunch of cats or we have a Pride going. Now all our 1/1 creature or 1/1 cat tokens are now 2/2s. Obviously doubles the damage, doubles their ability to trade and trade off. Amazing card. Next in our 2-drop spot is Ampharaptor. It is a 2/1 first strike for a red and a generic. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Then if you cast this card from your hand, you get to exile a top card of your library until you exile a non-land card. and you may cast that card by paying any amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So obviously it's great, if you go turn 1 Guided Souls into turn 2 Ampharaptor, that's going to give you 3 energy. Basically we hit anything in our deck for 3 energy. Notably, we can still hit most of our deck with 2 energy, so it is great. Just remember, guys, if you do Ampharaptor into Ampharaptor, all you're doing is getting 2 more energy back. You don't get to Cascade again, essentially, because it says if you cast this card from your hand, you get to exile. So just always keep that in mind. But, so far we have super efficient 1-drops, we have super efficient 2-drops, and our 3-drops still super efficient. We're playing, mostly every deck you're going to see is playing 4 Flage. Flage is an amazing card. If you have been sleeping underneath a rock, haven't played Modern at all, or paid attention to Modern, or didn't look at spoilers or anything, or listen to anything about Modern, you might not know that. But if you kept up with even the slightest bit of information going around about Modern, you know Flage is amazing. Flage has helped keep or make this deck essentially exist. It's helped put Jeskai Energy back on the map. 4 color decks are playing it. Just an overall great card. Even starting to help, hopefully maybe help Rhinos even see play again. So card's amazing. I'm not going to kind of explain it too much, but 3 mana for a 6/6. When it enters battlefield, unless you escaped it, you sacrifice it. It deals 3 damage. You gain 3 life, and then for double white, double red, you exile 5 other cards from your graveyard and escape it. Great card. A lot of decks have started playing 1 to 2 Bone Crushers, mainly for the stomp effect, just being able to have a little bit more removal and a little bit to help deal with the 1-ring protection. It does say damage can't be prevented this turn, so you stomp yourself basically, or you stomp, whatever creature you have that's power more than 2 toughness. So now you're can attack through their protection from the ring because damage can't be prevented this turn. Going into our removal, we got Lightning Bolt, Static Prison, Galvanic Discharge. So, Lightning Bolt, great card, has reach, can hit anything on the field or your opponent at worst case. So, good card, good at removing creatures, good at dealing with planeswalkers, good with just going to the face. Static Prison lets us deal with any permanent we need to, or any non-land permanent we need to. Being able to pay 1 white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, we get to exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield, and we get 2 energy. At the beginning of our pre-combat main phase, we sacrifice Static Prison unless we pay 1 energy. Notably, we do create a lot of energy with this deck between Guided Souls, Guided Souls, Static Prison, Galvanic Discharge, and Ampharaptor all help produce energy. Should always be able to pay for this. Obviously, there's circumstances when you do run out of energy, things like that. But even still, this is 1 mana to remove any permanent on the field, which is huge. And Galvanic Discharge as our other removal card here, where it is 1 mana, instant. Target creature, choose target creature or planeswalker. You get 3 energy, then you may pay any amount of energy, and it deals that much damage to that permanent. So, obviously, this scales better than Lightning Bolt, right? So, if we need to kill a 6 mana or 6 power creature, we can do that with Galvanic Discharge. If we have extra energy laying around, or we have 2 gift charges, obviously, things like that. So it does help, it does scale, where if we have a lot of leftover energy, we are able just to kind of remove any problem creature that we need to, as long as we can target it. The flex slots, as it is in Boros Energy, is Blood Moon, Fable, Goblin Bombardment. I will say Fable is one of those weird ones where it seems like almost every deck running at least 2 of them. I know I've seen 2 to 4 Fables. Blood Moon, same way. I see 2 to 3 in most of the list, depending. And then Goblin Bombardment is kind of the newest tech in these decks, seeing it as a lot of 1 of, some 2 ofs and such. So Blood Moon, obviously it's good because you can cascade into it with Ampharaptor. You can throw your opponent all off, especially if you're on the play going turn 2 Ampharaptor. You have to go turn 1 Guided Souls, turn 2 Ampharaptor into Blood Moon. Just can start out an opponent completely if they don't have the basics, or if they didn't fetch a basic on turn 1 or didn't play a fetch land on turn 1. You're going to shut them out of their colors most likely, and you're just going to be able to snowball the game because now they're so far on the back foot that even if you just play nothing else the rest of the game, you're still doing 3 damage a turn. Fable the Meter Breaker, I don't really need to explain why this card's good. It's got banned in Standard, it sees amazing play in Pioneer, it sees play in Modern, it sees play Legacy even sometimes. Card's amazing. If you don't know why it's good, Go look up a million different videos will tell you. But being able to make a token, make a 2/2 shaman that also poops out treasure tokens, being able to filter your hand, and it turns into a 2/2 that can just win the game by itself with tapping all your creatures and making extra copies. Goblin Bombardment, like I said, it's the newest enchantment here. It's 1 and a 2, one generic and a red mana, and you can sacrifice a creature, deals 1 damage to any target. Gives us a little bit of extra reach now to be able to sacrifice our board, sacrifice our extra tokens that are just lying around. Also helps us in the mirror matches with Boros Energy, being able to sacrifice our extra kitties to take out their creatures, things like that. Just being able to kind of control the board more and gives a little bit of extra reach there in the end of the game. So this is a overall deck list of what you'll see going in with Boros Energy. This is a deck by Young Dingo, who took down I think it was a 32 challenge. I will double check that, but this is kind of what the deck is doing. This is what the deck is looking like moving forward, at least for now. It's a super efficient deck. You have one, we have our 1 drops into 2 drops into 3 drops, where our game plan is to curve out and be more efficient and better than our opponent. Now it is kind of crazy when you look at a deck like this and see that it does beat Nadu. Like, it doesn't fold just to Nadu immediately in game 1. It has this reach against the control decks, Jeskai, where yes, it's not, you're not insanely favored against Jeskai, but you're definitely not, 20-80 against Jeskai, where most mid-range or most like aggro mid-range decks usually lose to the control decks because they just can't recover from board wipes and stuff. And like, this deck does a good job of recovering from the board wipes. It does a good job of having just so much efficient creatures that everything starts to become a must-kill threat or a must-answer threat. And then the Blood Moon cheese, or like the Blood Moon just, oh whoops, I cascading a Blood Moon off after on turn 2. Did you fetch a basic? You did it. Hope you play a lot of mountain cards. Or hope you play a lot of red in your deck, because you got a lot of mountains now. So just the efficiency of this deck overall, the reach you get with Flays being able to come back later in the game, just overall is a fundamentally good deck. The biggest problem I think we're going to have is finding an efficient way to answer this deck, especially moving forward. Saying that Nadu is banned on the 26th, I believe this will be the best deck in the format to play. I think if this is something you guys are looking to take down RCQs or get prepared for your RCQs, definitely a deck that you want to think about picking up or taking. I know it is pricey because it's playing essentially MH3 block constructed, but it is a good solid deck. And if you look at the sideboard here, you can kind of see what you're preparing for against. End of Festivities is basically a good card against the mirror match. Being able to deal 1 damage to everything helps, destroy Ocelot Pride and the token is making, kills Ragavan, kills Ampraptor, kills the Ajani token. Pretty much answers almost all your creatures, which is crazy. Soul Guide Lantern's obviously there for Graveyard Hate. Celestial Purge is in there for the Reanimator decks, as well as Flage, or opposing Flages. Dampening Spear for the Storm decks. Harsh Mentor for Nadu. We're not, exactly perfect against Nadu, but having some extraness will help. Sun Cleanser for the mirror matches, as well as Jeskai Energy to help turn off their board wipes. And Wrath of Skies, and then the One Ring here for the games that you plan to go longer in. It is crazy that, we see this deck that curves out at 3, essentially, and they're playing the One Ring now as well. It's kind of crazy how we've seen that the One Ring just keeps making its way into new homes, into new decks, and I definitely think that moving forward, the One Ring's probably going to be in Boros control or Boros mid-range for the foreseeable future, at least as a sideboard card, if nothing else. The best way to kind of like take out these decks or to stop these decks is you need to have a way to stop their early pressure. You need to have some kind of board wipe. You need some kind of way to answer their early pressure, and then either just go above them or go. I mean, I guess you could try to go underneath them, but I don't know if there's a deck in the format that goes underneath Boros Energy that well. But a lot of the decks that do well against them are things that can go above them, basically, or over top of them, right? So like we see Goryo's Vengeance go over top of them because they're just making, 7 sevens with lifelink that just stop their board cold. They have to answer that card. We see Through the Breach decks that are just going above, they hold them off until turn 5, or I guess turn 3 technically as early as they can play. As early as they can play through the breach, but through the breach into a creature that is going to have Annihilator 6 or more. Set them back to the Stone Age, and then regroup. Same thing with the Tron decks we see. We saw Jeskai Energy doing that too, where they're just playing for the board rights removal spells until they can eventually land the Flames of their own and just take over. So you got to be going you got to basically be able to handle the early game. So whatever deck you're playing, whatever deck you're taking to your RCQs, whatever deck you're thinking of taking, make sure you have a game plan for this. This deck is going to be everywhere. I fully expect to see this deck. I have a 5K coming up this weekend. I know I'm going to see this deck. I know I'm going to see Nadu. So I need to have a game plan for this in game 1. Because you don't want to just be like, well, I have a good game plan after sideboard. That's great. So you're going to concede to game 1 and then hopefully win both your sideboard games. Not exactly the best game plan. You definitely want to have some kind of plan going into the tournament that you're going into to beat this deck. Now, obviously, you're going to go to RCQs that probably have no Boros Energy by some chance, or all Boros Energy, right? But you need to have a game plan for this deck. It's definitely probably the best deck outside of Nadu moving into the RCQ season that we're in. And it's definitely going to be one of the best decks, if not the best decks, once Nadu gets banned. So definitely have a game plan for it. Definitely think about what you're doing, and make sure you understand your role in this matchup of when you need to turn that corner and become the aggressor in that matchup. As always, guys, if you like what you're seeing, you like what I'm doing, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.